Political parties fielding 6 and more candidates in this election are eligible for party political broadcasts. Airtime is in proportion to the number of candidates fielded. This is the second of 2 programs. The speakers representing their parties are Mr. Hsien from the People's Action Party, Ms. Sylvia Lim from the Workers' Party, Mr. Tean from the National Solidarity Party, Professor Paul A. Tambyah from the Singapore Democratic Party, Mr. Ngerng from the Reform Party, Mr. Jee Say from SingFirst, and Mr. Harminder Singh from the Singapore Democratic Alliance. The party fielding the smallest number of candidates will appear first, the party fielding the largest number last. The Singapore People's Party was allocated airtime but declined to participate. Speaking for the Singapore Democratic Alliance is Mr. Harminder Singh.
Singapore for Singaporeans, a heart for the people. 50 years ago, our pioneer leaders came as common people like us to put in proper safety nets to protect the rights of all Singaporeans. But the third generation leaders have been parachuted into policy-making positions but do not have a real understanding of the true pains, difficulties and sorrows of Singaporeans. If allowed to continue, they will only think of their own benefits and run the country like a corporation and implement even more policies that will cause much more discontent, dissatisfaction and pain to Singaporeans. It is time for a change, and residents of Pasir Ris Punggol GRC, the power is in your hands. Vote for SDA because our Shadow Town Council has been under training for more than 1 year now and will be ready to take over immediately. They will be led by Desmond Lim, who has had over 14 years of good experience running the Town Council for Mr. Chiam Si Tong with yearly surpluses and a transparent and accountable system. Vote for SDA because we have detailed alternative plans and improved policies and solutions for all the issues faced by Singaporeans, and we will be your most effective voice in Parliament to fight for your rights. We will stand up against the 6.9 million population white paper till the proper infrastructure is in place to handle the higher demand for the increased population. We are not against all foreigners, but only those who are breaking the rice bowls of Singaporean PMETs. Your vote is crucial and it will affect Singapore's future, and this election is about taking back the rights of our children if you don't want them to be second-class citizens in our country. We will stand up with you to ask for a more reliable public transport system and to bring down the stress faced by our children in the current education system. We'll fight for a more affordable housing and not one that we work all our lives to pay for. We will fight that all restrictions be removed to use our MediSave and healthcare be improved, especially with our aging population. Vote for SDA because we will be your voice to ask for our CPF to be returned at 55 as it was originally promised. Tomorrow, give us a chance to serve you as your full-time MPs and bring about many more improvements both in Pasir Ris Punggol and on a national level. We cannot do this alone. You have to help us make the change for a better future to achieve happiness, prosperity and progress for our nation. Vote for SDA. Thank you.
Speaking for Singaporeans First is Mr. Jee Say.
Good evening, fellow Singaporeans. An election is about the future, not the past. But the PAP talks day in, day out about the past 50 years as one past. Actually, we have 2 pasts, the first 40 years and the last 10 years under the current PM. The first 40 years were relatively good years, but beginning from 2004 when Lee Hsien Loong took over, Singapore has been going down the drain. First, casinos, then 1 million foreign workers, riots, workers' strike and frequent breakdowns of trains. Do you still want this government to mess up your lives for 5 more years? PM claimed that PAP has delivered on all its promises. He has conveniently forgotten the 5 C's: career, car, condominium, cash and country club, which they have not delivered. They invested your CPF money, achieved average return of 6% a year, but gave you only 2.5% and kept the excess return of 3.5%. This amounts to as much as $8.75 billion in 2014 alone. This is your money that they have shortchanged you. That's why more than half of Singaporeans do not have adequate savings for retirement. PM said this election is about choosing the next leadership team. The fact that he has asked Goh Chok Tong to stay shows that leadership succession has failed. Will the new candidates be any better? Are they just yes men from the civil service and the military? Have earlier badges shown that they could run key agencies in public transport and shipping? Or will they bring Singapore further down the road of decline? PAP leaders talk unashamedly about honouring the late Mr. Lee Kuan Yew. They are just opportunistic. They make use of his name for their own political ends. In fact, they have betrayed his ideals on foreign workers, trust and meritocracy. Today, Singapore has 5 times more foreign workers than what he implied Singapore could tolerate. Secondly, trust in PAP is so low that in an international survey, only 26% of Singaporeans trust their government leaders to tell the truth. Thirdly, an international magazine has ranked Singapore as the top 5 country in the world where politically connected businessmen are most likely to prosper. This is the opposite of meritocracy, which allows people to succeed on the basis of capability, not connection. So LKY's ideals have been betrayed under his son's watch as PM. If Singaporeans vote out of gratitude to the father, they will end in servitude to the son. Fellow Singaporeans, do you want 5 more years of the unhappiness and misery of the past 10 years under PAP? Or do you want to take back our country, our jobs, our space, our pride? We ask you to vote Singaporeans first to restore our nation. Vote for change. Vote SingFirst.
Representing the Reform Party is Mr. Ngerng.
My fellow Singaporeans, on September 11th, you will head to the polling booths to cast your vote and exercise your right to choose. Will you choose for a brighter future, or will you choose one with more broken promises? There was a time when we Singaporeans were proud of our society, when we were taken care of by one another, and when we knew that the policies were designed to protect us. But that was long ago. This government promised us a Swiss standard of living, but instead, the cost of living has risen and wages have failed to keep up and even stagnated. As a result, many Singaporeans have difficulty making ends meet. This government runs our country like a corporation, a profit-making machine where the citizens are not the preferred shareholders and their well-being is gradually being neglected. The government has failed to find a solution to our productivity problems. Its only suggestion is to continue increasing the population for the sake of hollow GDP growth. This idea has caused many Singaporeans to be sidelined and puts unacceptable stress on our society. The Reform Party believes there is another way. We have a fundamentally different manifesto, carefully crafted, refined and updated over the last few years. Singapore has accumulated huge surpluses, but this wealth is hoarded instead of being shared with Singaporeans. The Reform Party wants to invest our wealth in our citizens, our greatest natural resource. We want to invest in Singaporeans in the following ways: by implementing a minimum wage, putting a cap on foreign workers, investing in healthcare, providing free education, to give you a share of the land that your HDB sits on, to give you a share in GIC and Temasek holdings, abolishing MediShield premiums completely for the young and old, and to return your CPF savings to you at 55. These policies will improve not only productivity and fertility, but will grow real wages. Our policies put Singaporeans at the heart of the matter. Current government policies aren't working for Singaporeans, and many of you feel the current government has lost touch with Singaporeans. Reform Party believes that our Singaporeans deserve a better government, one that will work harder for you. Singaporeans, you deserve a government that is fully transparent and accountable to you, and where the power of checks is returned into your hands, its rightful place. In Parliament, the Reform Party will fight tirelessly for these rights on your behalf. You are a taxpayer of Singapore and you are an equal citizen. We want your right as a citizen to be equally respected, and we will not allow the government to threaten you by holding back amenities. The Reform Party will be safe and accountable on the ground and will be your champion in Parliament. Singaporeans, let's vote for a brighter future. Let's vote for a more caring Singapore for ourselves and our children. Vote Reform Party.
Here is Professor Paul A. Tambyah from the Singapore Democratic Party.
Friends and fellow Singaporeans, my name is Paul Anand Tambyah, and I'm speaking for the Singapore Democratic Party. Many people ask why they should vote for the SDP. My answer is simple. The SDP is a competent, constructive, compassionate party which has a very strong political philosophy based on social justice, with a clear vision for Singapore. We aim to build a democratic society based on justice and equality. Equality to us means that all the top schools are open to all children, regardless of language stream or ethnicity, where parents do not feel compelled to spend thousands of dollars in tuition just to ensure that their children get a good education. Equality means a national minimum wage for all workers, local or foreign, so migrant workers are not exploited and local workers are not afraid of being replaced by cheaper, less skilled workers. Equality means equal treatment for all religions in the workplace and military. Justice to us means that basic human rights are recognized for all. Justice also means that people are not penalized for being ill or disabled. Singapore has an excellent healthcare infrastructure with very good doctors, nurses, and allied health professionals. The trouble is that public healthcare is very expensive. Thanks to a parliamentary question, we know that the 3 M's, MediSave, MediShield, and MediFund, account for less than 15% of total health expenditure. The rest is paid out of government subsidies, out of pocket, or from employer-funded health insurance, which is simply not sustainable. We need a simpler, fairer healthcare system. We have proposed the SDP's National Healthcare Plan, which will help Singaporeans get peace of mind, not provided by MediShield Life with its high deductibles and rising premiums. A democratic society is one ruled by the people, not by elite natural aristocrats. The people of Singapore are mature and educated. We can think for ourselves. We can be trusted to manage our own money, including our own CPF at age 55, where we should be given the choice of whether we want to keep it in CPF or use it for some lifelong dream or investment. We do not want handouts or complicated means-tested subsidies, but we want fair wages for our hard work and sensible health and employment insurance so that we can afford to pay for our own basic necessities so we will not need handouts. The Prime Minister made an unprecedented apology to the voters in the middle of GE 2011. It is time to look objectively at the promises made as part of that apology. Ask yourself, are your children less stressed by the education system? Are you spending less on tuition and childcare? Are the trains less crowded? Are you more able to pay for healthcare for yourself and your parents? Are you more secure that your job will not be taken away from you and given to someone who's willing to work for less? If the answer to those questions is no, then we need more alternative voices in Parliament to provide independent checks on our government. Please vote for us so that we can be your voice in Parliament. Thank you.
Speaking for the National Solidarity Party is Mr. Lim Tean.
My fellow Singaporeans, 1 week ago when these elections started, we suggested to you that Singaporeans deserve better from their government. In the past week, many of you have come up to us to share your stories. What you shared with us confirmed that Singaporeans deserve better from their government. Maria, who lives in Tampines, told us how her son, who graduated with first-class honors from university, has not been able to find a full-time job for 2 years, and how the jobs he applied for were always taken up by foreigners. Olia, also from Tampines, told us how his father, who's 60 years old, is hardly able to get by, as he's unable to work but cannot access money from his CPF personal life savings. Alvin from Sembawang cannot understand why our government spends hundreds of millions of dollars a year subsidizing foreign students to study in our schools and universities, but will not ease the financial burden on families like his, who are struggling to put their children through university. Alvin has a son who's at university, and the $20 he has to give his son every day for expenses are a substantial portion of the family's disposable income. Many elderly came up to us to express their fears about the rising medical costs, which is punishing them financially and causing them stress and anxiety. We thank these people. Not long ago, people would have been afraid to express their opinion, but times are changing and for the better. Their stories show how our opponents are failing to discharge the most solemn duty of government, which is to take care of its own people. This country does not have to be on this course they have steered us on. Our people do not have to elect members of parliament who do not treat them fairly and who do not speak up against bad policies. If you believe that our intelligent, hardworking people are the equal of any talent in the world, if you believe that our people should have priority over a foreigner for a Singapore job, if you believe that our immigration policy is wrong and that your quality and standard of living will decline with a 7 million population, if you believe that you are being punished by the relentless rising cost of living and are having to work longer hours and bringing home less for housing, medical, and other costs, if you believe you are the forgotten middle class, if you believe that your CPF personal life savings are your own money and the government should honor its promise to return them to you at 55, if you believe that your elected representatives should put our own people first and that government should be on your side, then may we suggest that when you vote tomorrow, you vote for the NSP, because we believe in those ideas too. We shall fight for you in Parliament for those ideas which are important to you. I personally will be the voice to champion all of these issues. You are not powerless. You are in control. And your decision will decide whether our country comes together or comes apart. Whether our young will have a better future than their parents, or whether they will be the first generation of Singaporeans to have a lesser future. We ask you to exercise your great moral responsibility to change the course of this country and to restore the spirit of our people. Vote for the NSP because Singaporeans deserve better. Thank you and good night.
Representing the Workers' Party is Ms. Sylvia Lim.
Good evening, voters. The Workers' Party has called on you to empower your future. The ruling party has asked you to vote for the status quo, to continue the political system that has brought us to this crossroads today. This crossroads is a mix of successes and failures. The ruling party has emphasized the successes and attributed them to its own talent and effort. Remember that our pioneer generation was only recognized last year in 2014 for their long contribution to building our nation. The Workers' Party supported the government's Pioneer Generation package because we called for the recognition of the pioneer generation during the National Day immediately after the last general election in 2011. Better late than never. In recent years, better late than never has become a recurring theme in housing, in transport, in healthcare, in social welfare nets, in cost of living. The ruling party has run out of ideas and is chasing after failures in these key sectors, trying to put out the fire and fix the breakdowns. Better delay than complete breakdown. But during the delay, the people suffer. We need a new vision for the next 50 years. We should seek to free the people to aspire and empower them to realize their dreams. In our vision, the role of the government is not to interfere with and supervise every aspect of our life, but to focus on investing in our social, economic, and political institutions and ensuring their independence. The Singaporean talents unleashed would then take these institutions to new heights of achievement. In our vision, society is not shaped like a pyramid, with a super elite ruling over the struggling masses and a shrinking middle class feeling squeezed by rising costs. We seek a society with many peaks of excellence, rising from the thriving majority of successful Singaporeans. In our vision, Singapore would be a society where Singaporeans are secure in their accomplishments and would willingly support fellow Singaporeans who have fallen through the cracks. We need a new kind of politics. It no longer makes sense to give a small group of self-selecting and self-checking leaders a blank check to take us forward into the murky future. We believe that empowering Singaporeans entails a system of government where there are adequate checks and balances without political gridlock. Parliament must play the crucial role of checking and pushing a powerful executive to make well-balanced policies and laws that protect and advance the people's interests. A parliament monopolized by one ruling party fails the test of rigorous debate and voting in forging sound policies. This grave imbalance has given free rein to the ruling party to take our country in any direction it deems fit. It has refused to listen for many years. Policy U-turns take place only after our institutions come close to breakdown. It has also led to our current situation where the ruling party is suspicious of all critical voices and opposition parties and equates the nation with the government and the government with itself. This has led to the ruling party seeking to hold on to power by making unfair rules against other political parties. Patriotic but disagreeing citizens who seek reforms through the democratic process should not be deemed as enemies to be picked on and discredited. Politics and elections should not be treated as wars. We need to move away from the unscrupulous politics of knocking out your opponent at all costs to fostering fair play and truly constructive politics. Fellow citizens, Singapore is not the PAP. Singapore is now a mature and diverse society. We are ready for a parliament with different political voices. A balanced parliament is critical in assisting the government to make sounder judgments about policy trade-offs. A balanced parliament is critical in getting the ruling party to treat all citizens with decency and respect, including those who disagree. Your vote is your power. The Workers' Party is your credible choice. We offer a slate of capable candidates, carefully selected to ensure the renewal of the party, who embody our values of bottom-up service to the people and being a rational, respectable, and responsible party. Our candidates come from many professions with diverse skill sets and expertise, but are all united in seeking the empowerment of Singaporeans. Empower yourself to make decisions for your own future. Vote Workers' Party. Empower your future. Good night.
And here is Mr. Loong from the People's Action Party.
My fellow Singaporeans, tomorrow you will cast your vote. You will be deciding our future as a nation. During the campaign, you would have heard many views and proposals from many parties. Before you vote tomorrow, please consider, what future do you want for yourself and your children? This year, we celebrate 50 years of independence and progress. Together, we brought Singapore from third world to first. At SG50, we are starting a new chapter. Now, we must decide which way we want Singapore to go. Are we satisfied with where we are now? Or do we take Singapore higher and create something lasting for our children? I believe all of us want to climb higher because that's the Singapore spirit. Singaporeans do not settle for less than the best. If our pioneers had not resolved to build a better Singapore, we wouldn't be here today. We must never be content just to get by. If ever Singapore is no more than ordinary, we'll be bypassed and forgotten. We must keep faith with one another and with our children so that our next 50 years will be even better than the last 50 years. As a little red dot, we have to keep a watchful eye on the outside world. ISIS and terrorism are at our doorstep. The bomb attacks in Bangkok last month could very well happen to us. The Bangkok attacks may have links to Indonesian terrorist groups. And some of these Indonesian groups have shown interest in attacking Singapore. Next week, there'll be an anti-Bersih rally in Malaysia with serious racial undertones. If Malaysia is unsettled, we will be affected. In the South China Sea, if Chinese and American planes collide by accident, tensions will rise. We'll be in a difficult spot if we are forced to choose between our friends. I cannot promise you an easy journey, but I'm confident we can navigate safely through the storms. Together, we've overcome tough odds throughout our history. Despite the challenges, our lives got better with each passing year. Whom do you trust to make this journey with you? Over the past 9 days, across Singapore, PAP candidates have knocked on doors, held rallies, engaged you, and asked for your support. You know us because we've been on the ground working with you and for you for many years, often decades. I thank you for the many kind words of support we have received. Your support and encouragement boost our confidence that we are on the right track and making a difference to you. What is a Singapore that the People's Action Party wants to build with you? A nation where elderly lead dignified lives, where the middle income have their burdens lightened, where the needy and disadvantaged are given an extra hand, and where tomorrow is always better than today. One of the leading cities in the world where the human spirit flourishes and Singaporeans, young and old, can chase rainbows and build a better world. I'm confident we can achieve this together. Whatever the PAP promised us to do, we have done. For seniors, we have reduced medical bills through the Pioneer Generation Package and MediShield Life to give you greater peace of mind. For young couples, we've launched 100,000 flats, enhanced housing grants, and the Marriage and Parenthood Package, and provided affordable, high-quality childcare. For the young, we are making every school a good school and opening up more pathways and opportunities. We strengthened our social safety nets, Comcare, Workfare, Silver support, so that no one is left behind. We're helping workers to upgrade through Skills Future. Singaporean wages have risen across the board, unlike in most developed economies. We have a full and exciting agenda ahead. We're building new hospitals, Sengkang Hospital, and Yishun and Outram community hospitals. SIT's new campus will add buzz and character to Punggol town. By 2030, 8 in 10 people will live within a 10-minute walk of an MRT station. Jurong Lake District is being transformed into a vibrant business hub to bring more jobs closer to where you live. When Tanjung Pagar Port moves to Tuas, we will build the southern waterfront city, 3 times the size of Marina Bay, where Singaporeans can live, work, and play. And after Paya Lebar Air Base moves to Changi, the entire eastern part of Singapore will be transformed. Your support will help us to make all this happen. As the People's Action Party, we put people at the heart of all that we do. The PAP will always serve the best interests of Singaporeans, both for today and for tomorrow. Unlike some opposition parties, we don't write ourselves checks that our children will have to pay. We don't make empty promises that we cannot fulfill. The PAP will always stand for clean and honest politics. We take a hard stand against corruption and wrongdoing. When we discover anything wrong, we'll bring it out into the open and take steps to put things right. Politics in Singapore is changing. Singaporeans' views are becoming more diverse. The PAP welcomes full debates on national issues in Parliament, but this depends on the quality of the MPs rather than their numbers. The social media enable all citizens to express themselves and be heard directly. Our MPs and activists hold Meet the People sessions every week. They go door to door so that you can speak to us directly. We've been engaging Singaporeans widely to hear their aspirations and wishes for themselves and Singapore. That is how we have developed our policies, programs, and plans. The PAP values every Singaporean's views and will strive to form a national consensus on the way forward. The PAP stands for a broad majority of Singaporeans, regardless of race, language, and religion. Singapore has succeeded because we have been one united people, and the PAP will fight to keep it this way. Mr. Lee Kuan Yew's passing this year reminded us of the vital importance of being one people together and of having capable leaders. Mr. Lee and his team work closely with Singaporeans to build this Singapore. I have a good team too. But to take Singapore higher, we need to prepare the next team to carry the torch forward. In this election, I've put before you a team of candidates, including both experienced and new faces. They come from diverse backgrounds and represent people from all walks of life. I believe they'll serve you well. Please support me and my PAP candidates so that we can put together the best possible team for you to secure your future. When Mr. Goh Chok Tong asked me to join politics in 1984, I said yes. I felt a duty to make Singapore a safe, secure, and successful country, to make your life better and to make sure our children have better lives and brighter futures. That is what drives me to tackle difficult issues, to work with you to solve problems, and to make bold plans so that together we can achieve our aspirations. 30 years later, I'm still convinced we can make Singapore better, and still working at it. All my candidates feel this way. We promise to work with you, and for Singapore. If you support what we have done together, if you look forward to the future we have sketched out, and if we want to build a better Singapore for you and your children, when you vote tomorrow, please vote for the People's Action Party.